Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about toxic situationships. So a situationship is a situation that you're in with a person that is not friendship. It's also not a relationship either. Kind of like friends with benefits, but perhaps with a little bit more to it than that. A toxic situationship is probably a bit of a situation whereby you want more from that other person than they perhaps want to give you, or they want more from you and you do not know what to do. Today is inspired by someone who actually has written into me and asked for my advice. It's someone who watches the YouTube channel and she just wanted a bit of help with a text interaction. And I said to her, can I put this onto YouTube? And she said yes. So thank you so much. I'm not gonna use her name because I want to keep her nice and anonymous, but I felt like this was a really common issue which resonated with me because I have 100% been there and worn that t-shirt. So her situation was that she had developed a friendship with a guy, and then that friendship had become sexual, and now he has texted her to say that he thinks that they should be friends and that when they're in public they keep acting like a couple, but you know, we're not a couple and I want to keep our friendship going, but I want us to remain as friends. And her response was really good. She said that she understood his point of view and that she found it difficult sometimes, and that maybe some time apart would be a good thing because he'd suggested a bit of time apart as well. And she was like, I agree with that, let's have some time apart. So now she's come to me and she's like, well, what does this really mean? We've had like a really deep connection. We talk about the future together. We talk on the phone for hours. I'm concerned now that it's not that he doesn't want me, but that the timing's off. He's been very stressed with work. He hasn't been dealing well with the pandemic. Like, he's just not in a very good headspace. Like, do I wait around for him or do I move away from that situationship? At the end of this video, I will give you my advice, but first of all, I want to talk through my toxic situationship so that you can see like what I did in that situation and how that panned out for me. I have been in a very similar situation to what she is in now, only my situation of my own doing went on for about 2 years of my life. I developed I was gonna say relationship, it wasn't. It was a situationship with a guy who I thought was a friend, and I was convinced we were friends. We got on really well. We had loads of chats and conversations, and then I started to develop feelings for him, and I tried to push those feelings away because I really wanted to keep him as a friend. But then one thing led to another and we were no longer friends anymore. We had gone across that boundary of entering into something that was physical, and because we'd been friends already and then we got physical, I thought that the natural progression would be a relationship. He thought differently. He had absolutely no intention of being in a relationship with me and would sporadically just vanish. So whenever I got really close to him, he'd disappear. I'd get very upset. I'd then back away, and then he would come back into my life and pretend like nothing had ever happened. Now, I wish I could go back in time and tell my then self that this person is never going to be with you. If the person is not able to be with you right now, then your job to protect yourself is to just move yourself out of that situation, because staying in that situation represents I don't value myself. You can continue to treat me as you are doing and I will still be here. And it means that you're not in a position whereby you can go and meet other people and actually be in a real relationship with someone who can actually be there for you. Timing wise, maybe the timing was off, but it's not your job to fix that situation. It's not your job to sit around and wait for somebody who is prepared to lose you. So when this sort of thing happens, my advice to anyone really would be to listen to what he said, look at his actions. Somebody who is inconsistent in any realm, so they might be inconsistent with their words, they might be inconsistent with their actions, you know, coming and going as they please, or saying we're friends but then crossing that boundary themselves, initiating contact. Someone doing that is not somebody who at this point in time is in a position to be in a relationship. Will that change in the future? I don't know if that will change. But what I do know is that if you allow that person to do that, you are giving them feedback that you will let them come back to you and that they can treat you as they are doing and there are no consequences. In the end, what happened with me was I just had a bit of an epiphany where I realised that this person wasn't going to be with me. He wasn't ever going to be with me, and that if I went away for any period of time, he wouldn't chase me. He might like gently check in with me, but he wouldn't pursue me in the way in which that I would like to be pursued. So rather than playing a game of I'm going to move away from this person and I'm going to get a reaction, which also was something that had happened during that time, I moved myself away from the situation and I meant it. Because somewhere along the way, instead of looking at all their flaws and thinking that they might change and thinking that they might be having a bad time of things, somewhere along the way, you have to love yourself. And if you're waiting on someone who doesn't want to be with you right now, and you have given it a certain amount of time, you know, you have put your energy into this person, they don't want to be with you, and you think it's reasonable that you would be together, you have to put yourself first. You cannot chase someone who doesn't want you and expect them to respect you, and you're not respecting yourself. And that's all this is really about. That guy, he didn't come back to me. Well, he did actually. He came back and I ignored him. He'd ghosted me so many times, and then I ignored him for three years, because it was 3 years that it took for me to actually feel confident that I wouldn't go back. And when I was comfortable and confident that I was completely over it, I could have a conversation with him and just say, you know, I had to do that for myself. I wish you well in everything that you do. And right now, the situation between me and him is very, very stable. He's not in my life. He's not someone that I would run away from if I saw him in the street. I feel very neutral about it. And I can see now that we don't have the same moral code. We don't have the same desires for within a relationship. So if someone is willing to let you go, I would leave. I also realized that it wasn't really about me, it was about the place that he was in, but that I deserved better than that, not in a I'm better than him kind of way. Just, you know, I deserve to be with someone who wants to be with me. Sometimes what can happen is that we've not had a connection with someone for so long that this toxic situationship is really, really exciting, and in some way makes us feel alive, and it makes us feel like, oh, finally I like someone, so we cling desperately to that person. But it's not healthy. It's much better to be with someone who is stable, someone who is reciprocating the love that you give, and someone who is consistent, not only in their actions, but in their words as well. It's a combination of things. Some dating coaches will tell you, listen to the actions, listen to their actions, listen to their actions, and also the words, because if there's a disparity between the two, you're dealing with someone who isn't being completely truthful. Regardless of whether their intention is to be that way, doesn't really matter. The facts are, if someone is saying one thing and doing another thing, it cannot possibly be honest, and you deserve an honest, awesome person in your life. And the longer you chase someone who isn't interested in you, the longer you will be stuck in a toxic situationship. Move away from that person, and if he tries to breach the boundary, maintain the boundary and say, we've decided that we're just friends. I would have liked more than that, but now we've decided to just be friends. That's what's going to happen. If you cannot be around that person without breaking that boundary, do not be around that person. Sometimes you have to let the friendship part go just to keep your sanity. Thank you so much for watching today. I'd absolutely love it if you could like, comment and subscribe, and let me know if you've been in a situationship and you've been able to turn it around, or whether, like me, you moved away from a person so you could maintain your sanity. It could be that you move away from a situation and they move towards you in a way that's healthy and good and everything turns out all right. But for me, that certainly wasn't the case. And I think 9 times out of 10, if someone wants to be with you, you will know about it. Bye-bye.